Hello, friends. Welcome to the Base Life. On this episode, we're going to be asking Jehovah's Witnesses whose years will never come to an end. Jehovah's Witnesses, they'll say, Jehovah God, and you'll say, I think you're right about that. Let's look into this. Go to Psalm 102. In their translation, it has to be in their translation, the New World Order translation. Jehovah, they'll start at verse 1. O Jehovah, hear my prayer. Let my cry for help reach you. Do not hide your face from me in the time of distress. Incline your ear to me. Do answer me quickly when I call. So who is the psalmist praying to, Jehovah's Witnesses? They'll say, Jehovah. You'll say, exactly, praise God. Then you go to verse 12. Stay in Psalm 102. But you remain forever, O Jehovah, and your fame will endure for all generations. Who is he talking about? Jehovah, right? Then go to verse 25. Long ago you laid the foundations of the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. They will perish, but you will remain. Just like a garment, they will all wear out. Just like clothing, you will replace them, and they will pass away. But you are the same, and your years will never end. The children of your servants will dwell securely, and their offspring will be firmly established before you. The question right there is, who long ago laid the foundations of the earth? Jehovah, right? Can't say that of a creature. Can that be said of a creature? You laid the foundations of the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. Can you say that about a creature? I don't know. I don't know if I'd ask the Jehovah's Witness that, but I'm just wondering as we're doing this. Is that something that a creature can do? Lay the foundations of the earth, and the heavens are the work of his hands? I don't know. That's a pretty amazing creature. And who else but Jehovah, let's ask him, will not perish? Like a garment, they will wear out. Just like clothing, you will replace them, and they will pass away. But you are the same, and your years will never end. Who else could you say that about? Just Jehovah God, right? Now you take them to Hebrews 1. Say, let's read Hebrews 1. Let's start at verse 8. There's so much in Hebrews 1 that just entirely destroys Watchtower doctrine. Hebrews 1, verse 2. I'll just go through it real quick. Now, at the end of these days, he has spoken to us by means of a Son, whom he appointed heir of all things, and through whom he made the system of things. He is the reflection of God's glory. Read 3. He is this reflection of God's glory and the exact representation of his very being, and he sustains all things by the word of his power. Think about that. He is the reflection of God's glory, the exact representation of his very being. What being is that? God. And he sustains all things by the word of his power. Who else but God could sustain all things by the word of his power, be the exact representation of the being of God, and be the reflection of God's glory? Who else but God? Jesus is Jehovah God, but he's not the Father. So let's go down to verse 8. But about the Son, he says, so we're talking about Jehovah, but about the Son, he says, God is your throne forever and ever, and the scepter of your kingdom is the scepter of righteousness. You loved righteousness, and you hated lawlessness. That is why God, your God, anointed you with the oil of exaltation more than your companions. And, listen to this, Jehovah's Witnesses, at the beginning, O Lord, you laid the foundations of the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. They will perish, but you will remain. And just like a garment, they will all wear out. And you will wrap them up just as a cloak, as a garment, and they will be changed. But you are the same, and your years will never end. Wait a second. Hold on, Jehovah's Witnesses. Hold on a second. Wait a second. Wait. Who is speaking here? Who is speaking here? Let's go to the beginning. Let's go to 8. But about the Son, who is he speaking to? He is speaking to Jesus Christ, but about the Son, he says. So they'll go up. I guess the thing they'll want to ask about is, okay, so how do we know that's Jehovah speaking? For example, to which of the angels did God ever say? That proves that. And I will become his father, and he will become my son. just when he brings his firstborn into the inhabited earth. They'll say, see, he's the firstborn, is the first created. No, that's not what that means. He says, and let all God's angels do obeisance to him. If you look at the original version, 1950, I have it. It says, and let all God's angels worship him. They've now changed it to do obeisance to him. Why? Because if Jesus isn't God, why would anyone worship him? But why was God telling the angels to worship him? That doesn't make any sense. You should only worship Jehovah. That's because Jesus is Jehovah. But they changed the Bible. And also, he says about his angels, he makes his angel spirits and his ministers a flame of fire. This is Jehovah speaking. But about the Son, this is the Father speaking, I should say, to be more specific. But about the Son, he says, God is your throne. That's not even the right translation. Let's look at what the King James, which they used to respect. Let's look at what that one says. But unto the Son he saith, I don't know if you guys can see this. Thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. A scepter of righteousness is the throne, is the scepter of thy kingdom. Thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. Not he is the, what do they say? But about the Son, he says, God is your throne. The American Standard Version says, but of the Son, he saith, thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. I don't know, they all kind of say it differently. Interesting. So we asked the Jehovah's Witness, who is God applying Psalm 102? That's pretty obvious what's being referenced here. But about the Son, he says, God is your throne forever and ever. Okay, where was this said? What does this sound like? It sounds like where we were, Psalm 102, right? Long ago you laid the foundations of the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. About the Son, he says that. You see that in 8. But about the Son, he says. But about the Son, he says, God is your throne. Look at verse 10. And at the beginning, O Lord, you laid the foundations of the earth. It says it right there. This is the exact same thing as Psalm 102. They might even say that. Yeah, Psalm 102. They show that. And it's quoted in their own study version. This is the reference they're making. But look at what he's saying. But about the Son, he says, so he's saying this about the Son. At the beginning, O Lord, you laid the foundations of okay? So the question is, isn't that only Jehovah? This is what it says. Jehovah is the one that, oh, Jehovah, hear my prayer. And the psalmist is saying long ago, you laid the foundations of the earth. So the psalmist is praying to Jehovah, and the Father is saying, and that's the Son that it applies to. I probably could have done a way better job of explaining this. I think I'd give myself a 4 out of 10 maybe. But do you see this? They're referencing Psalm 102 here. And here the Father is saying this is about the Son. So the Son laid the foundations of the earth, and the heavens are the work of his hands. They will perish, but you will remain. But you are the same, and your years will never come to an end. In Psalm 102, that is exactly the same thing that the psalmist is saying about Jehovah. Is there a contradiction? No, Jesus is Jehovah. If you're Jehovah's Witness, there is a contradiction. Tell me in the comments, Jehovah's Witnesses. Don't paste a bunch of other random Bible verses. Show me, why is the Father saying the Son is the one that are the same and the years will never end? Why is the Father, applying Psalm 102 to Jesus when the psalmist was talking to Jehovah? Or what's up with that contradiction? Please tell me in the comments. Like I said, don't copy and paste the same Jehovah's Witness Unitarian crap. Address the verse, Hebrews 1:8. Why is he saying, but about the Son, he says? And then goes on and repeats Psalm 102 as it applies to the Son. But the psalm was about Jehovah. How does that make sense if Jesus is not Jehovah? Ask Jehovah's Witnesses. Let's see what they say. But friends, if you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. If you hated this content, please dislike and subscribe. Friends, I see you on the other side.